You're busy this morning by the looks of Twitter. You're on This Morning, you're on radio stations over there, you're everywhere.
Yeah, and then we've got to go to rehearsals. Yeah, it's a busy day, busy times, but we've got the first show of our tour coming up on Monday, so it's always busy around this time of year.
Right, very good. Now, this must be a really exciting time for you, because the song that everyone is talking about is yours!
Well, it's ours, but,
it's yours.
We have a little bit more involvement in it. It's very exciting. I mean, I've been songwriting for a long time, but I've only recently started putting them forward for Westlife, and, a lot of I don't like to submit loads of songs. I tend to spend more time on one and try and get it right, and most of them have been getting on the albums and stuff. So I'm very happy. Songwriting is something I'm nearly equally as passionate about as I am about singing. So it's nice that I'm finally first of all, I finally got the courage a couple of years ago to start sending them forward, because I've written hundreds of songs, but I never used to play them to anyone. So it's nice to know now that they're kind of getting somewhere,
When you show the lads all your songs and then they start singing them, you're like, no, you're singing it wrong. This is the way I sang it in my head. Do it this way.
But you just have to let go and sometimes you could be like that, and I could be like, oh no, that's not really how I heard it. But that's not. When we sing other people's songs, we kind of always put our own little twist on them. So I can't expect anyone to treat my songs any different.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, you said that you've got hundreds of songs written, right?
Yeah.
Myself and Tracy are always looking for cast-offs that you don't want, so songs that you've decided aren't good enough for Westlife. Can we have the ones that aren't quite good enough for Westlife but might be good enough for us? We're thinking of putting together an album.
Yeah, you can have them. I'll sell you the entire catalog.
Sell.
No, Mark. No, Mark.
A fiver. I was going to say a fiver.
Bruno Mars and Neo are giving them to us for free. Just saying.
Okay, all right then, fine.
Yeah.
A fiver for charity, though.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, grand.
We can do that. The last time you were here, just before Christmas, you were talking about the crazy fans coming up to your houses for Christmas. Not Fran now, but other crazy fans. And I think your exact quote was, "This candle isn't burning for you, my dear."
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, that's obviously about putting a candle in your window. Like the old tradition for travellers and stuff. That you're welcome to come in if you're lost on Christmas Eve. But yeah, the candle isn't just to invite any old person in. It's for people who are it's for people in distress, not just for any old person to come along.
Did you get any people knocking on your door then this Christmas? Then after we were talking to you last night?
No, I didn't. Luckily, everybody was obviously listening, and nobody came.
Well, now,
to be honest, they wouldn't have been able to get to my house. People that were invited could barely get to my house because of the weather anyway.
Oh yeah, God.
I was on the Westlife site earlier, and I was just looking at the comments, because the lyrics to your song are up on the Westlife website.
Yeah.
And all the comments underneath it. How do you find it when people... Well, so people obviously read their own interpretation into your lyrics anyway.
Yeah.
Does it bother you when they get it wrong? Do you ever feel like, oh no, that's not what I was talking about? What's wrong with you people?
Well, sometimes I think, say even on Twitter, sometimes you might say something and it could be said sarcastically, but people don't get it, and and you get 100 tweets saying, "Oh, I can't believe it," whatever. You just kind of have to. It's so tempting to kind of dive in and kind of let it kind of get carried away by it, but you just have to take a deep breath, count to 10, and go, okay.
Yeah.
I just got a little bit excited there. Whatever. People aren't going to always, interpret everything the way it's meant to be or whatever. Like with songs, as much as the lyrics that I Will Reach You, for instance, are they're not sort of deep and meaningful to take their own sort of meaning from. It's quite universal, but it still comes from the thought that grew into that song still comes from a personal and a deep experience. But the song itself, especially with Westlife, we don't really want the lyrics to go too kind of deep and directional, about our own personal life, and be very kind of, they're kind of more like the "You Raise Me Up" lyrics, for instance. They're universal. They could be, you could be singing it to your cat or your mum or your girlfriend or anybody, I hope you don't sing it to your cat.
Well,
that
wouldn't.
I have a really odd image of you singing to your cat now, unfortunately.
Well, cats can bring
People
joy
could be
to
taking
people's
all sorts
life.
of meanings from that as well.
Exactly. I saw on Twitter a while back there, I think it was Nikki that posted a picture of Shane pumping some iron, getting in preparation for the tour. Now, obviously, we're looking forward to seeing you now in the O2. But what was I going to say to you? How are you kind of training that way with the gym and all that sort of stuff?
I kind of just, just a constant battle with me. Something I've got good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks. When I'm in the right place, in my mind, and like it's just that one day. If I go once, then I'll get into it and I'll stay in it. If you know what I mean. But then it's also it goes hand. If I go to the gym, I eat great. If I don't go to the gym, I'm like whatever. Give me a pizza. Give me whatever. So it's all I suppose when we had a year off a couple of years back, and it was much easier to kind of have a routine and to I had my days that I went to the gym and I was able to go to the supermarket and buy like whatever I wanted, if you know what I mean. Whereas when you're on the road, it's a lot more difficult, and there's no routine. Every day is different. One day you're up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. The next day you don't have to get up or start work till 5 p.m. So there's no routine, and I think it's harder to eat healthy and exercise properly in the gym when there's no routine.
It's all willpower, isn't it? I find that's just all
willpower.
No,
it is. It is. In fairness, I mean, they're kind of. I could probably sit there making up excuses about schedules and routines, which I just done. But Shane has the same lifestyle, and he still manages to go to the gym. It's just. I don't know. I go through phases where I'm mad into the gym, and others when I just couldn't really. I just couldn't really be arsed going. It's I wish I could. I think that in the future, the older I get, the more important it will be for me to actually have the willpower to go,
As you've, touching on that, I'm not saying that you're getting old, but we all are getting old together. Yous are together such a long time now, almost like over a decade. Yeah. And do you find that you are kind of tiring a little bit and you have to kind of like be more rigid with yourself and your schedule all the time now?
Well, I think obviously like some of the lads have kids and stuff, and there's stuff like there's certain aspects of that, of course, where there's other people's lives in your hands, if you know what I mean. So you can't just kind of do whatever you want. But I mean, that goes across the board for any parent, not just like the lads in Westlife. Like for me, in certain ways, I know what you mean. It's like, I can't deal with the hangovers anymore, all that. Yeah. But in another way, honestly, I kind of feel like I've got more energy than ever. Like I was a lot more quiet, and I just stayed in my room a lot when I was, in the earlier years. Whereas I socialise a lot more these days, and I suppose that just goes hand in hand with just being happier in life and stuff like that. So
Deadly.
You are quite fortunate.
Not to get too deep and meaningful, by the way.
That doesn't matter, we're all friends.
That's right. Let's all write a song about it.
Right.
You are quite fortunate as well in that, like, I know you don't like to be pigeonholed as the band that sit in stools and get up for the key change. But like, if you get on, if you get on a bit in years, like, it's good to have the sit down option. Like,
we had the foresight in that, when we were 18, we were like, well, lads, we want to do this till we're 60, so we need to like. It's like plastic surgery, instead of like just, coming out with a big face full of Botox, get a little bit done at a time, and then by the time you do get old, nobody will even realise you had any work done. So it's like when we started sitting on the stools when we were 18, so that when we are 50, nobody will think we're doing it because we're about to keel over,
I like your style.
Have you ever had what I'm going to call the talk for bands? So like, have you ever had to sit down and go, look, we need to like pick an age or a time or an album number to just wrap this thing up, because otherwise we will be here till we're 60.
Yeah, and it's more like in interviews that people say, what age do you think you can do it till? And and we think to ourselves like we don't know, we can't predict the future. But if you think about it, like we're sitting there going, lads, do you think we can really do this when we're 60? Like honestly, like you'll be there like with grandchildren and like who knows? Like I mean, we don't even. It's hard to predict even 12 months ahead in the music business alone. Never mind when we're that age. I think even if we said now, no, when we're 60, that's too old. But then when we are 60, I'm still going to probably want to be on stage. So who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows?
I want to ask you a bit about Irish music at the moment. Jedward representing Ireland at the Eurovision. Yeah. Likey or not likey?
I personally, I like it. I think, like, first of all, in general, the whole kind of Jedward topic, I really like Jedward. I think they're very positive. I think they're outside the box for what normally comes out of Ireland in terms of entertainment, and I think they're very entertaining to watch on TV. They're hilarious, and they're basically very, very entertaining people. Like I don't think Ireland would have put Jedward forward to the Eurovision in 1995, but people need to understand it isn't 1995 anymore, and the Eurovision has evolved, and I think Jedward are a great act to send to the Eurovision. I think they'll stand out, and I think that actually they've got a great song as well. So
I love the song. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I really
it's
like
great.
the song.
And I mean, people can be so snobby and stuff, but I think actually there's a lot of people that need to understand. Like we're not in the 90s anymore, and as I said, the Eurovision has changed. I mean, Jedward aren't Niamh Kavanagh, for instance, and I love Niamh Kavanagh. I used to sing that song all day, every day for about 5 years after she won and stuff.
Did you?
I was a big Eurovision fan. I always have been. Especially back in the day. But at the same time, you have to sort of acknowledge, that things change, and the Eurovision really has changed. And if Ireland want to be in with a chance, I think sending Jedward is a better option than sending, someone with a lovely voice and a lovely song. If you know what I mean. I think they'll stand out more.
They
You know?
make me smile, Mark. Now, me and Ryan have different
Exactly,
sort
and
of things. They make me smile.
But I mean, because I know them because they're signed to Louis and stuff and everything.
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
forgot that connection.
yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, they're I think 18, 19 years old. I think maybe 19 now, and like I actually get quite angry when I see like mature adults, anything up to the age of 50 years old, kind of literally kind of almost bullying them and you know really talking them down in the papers. I mean, first of all, a 50-year-old bullying an 18-year-old isn't okay in the first place. But generally, as you say, they make you smile. There's nothing. There's not a bad bone in their body,
No,
and
I
they get
love
so
them.
much
Yeah.
sick. So you know, it's like for me, I'm all for Jedward. You know.
Yeah.
Can I just
Totally.
two quick questions, Mark?
Ooh.
Yeah.
When you're talking to Jedward, because we've talked to them a load of times, do they just start like literally dancing in front of you, like in mid-conversation, and still keep talking, or is that just us?
Basically, they're exactly the way they are in the TV in real life. It's the
They were
same as Louis. They're just exactly the same in real life as they are. You'll be talking to them, and you're like, hello, are you you're gone somewhere else now, aren't you? You're not listening to me anymore. You know, but they're, as I said, they're entertaining and they're very nice lads. You know, you've got nothing but good things to say about them.
In terms of the stuff you're writing and you're written, is it all kind of ballad stuff, or have you got any, like, you know, the way you hear people who, let's say we were talking to Plan B yesterday, and he's all soul and stuff, but he was telling us like he's written a load of kind of ballads and love songs as well, but like you've never heard them or you wouldn't know about them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of songwriters, just like me, sit at home and write, you know, songs every day, and you know, sort of 19 out of 20 of them you'll ever hear, and then you know you might hear one or whatever. Like I honestly, I love a lot of the songs I write are up tempo, and because I'm not necessarily a sort of a seasoned musician myself, I tend to make backing tracks up on more sort of garage band and a lot of the kind of the drum programs and stuff, and they do end up being more up tempo. But when I write songs for Westlife, I'll go in with somebody who's a piano player or a guitar player, and obviously if we're writing for Westlife, I'm not going to write some crazy soul dance song. You know, it's like, you know, it's just not what Westlife do. But I write every sort of music. I love soul music. I love dance music. I love everything. You know, I mean.
What about a remix with you and David Guetta?
Well, for me personally, as a singer, I'd love any world-class producer. It'd be a pleasure to work with any of them. You know, I think just creatively, like to work with someone who's a genius in their own right, whether it's David Guetta or will.i.am or Red One. Of course, it'd be a pleasure. Like for me, I love to sing, and they make great records. So,
I think you should look into that. Load of Westlife songs getting remixed.
Yeah, well, I mean,
why not?
There'll be a few kind of, bit of red tape that you'd have to go through, because not everyone thinks that that's what Westlife should do. But I think it's all it's all kind of a bit of fun, and for that reason, I'd love to work with any of these people. It'd be great fun altogether to do like a record that people wouldn't expect us to do. But we have to also deliver what's expected of us, and we like singing the ballads too. So
I feel like I'm about to start talking about an ex here. You know, when you have that awkward conversation with someone about their ex. Right. About Brian's new song. I mean, wow.
Did you know he could rap?
Yeah, I spent hours and hours and hours in cars with Brian over the years, listening to him rapping. As a matter of fact, no, I think he raps as much as he does anything off the cuff and does something kind of random. Brian's kind of a very musical person, and it doesn't surprise me that he's the type of person that would have the balls to be in a studio with will.i.am and start writing a song and start rapping to somebody who's a rapper. He's got no fear in that way. And I don't know, I actually have heard the song, but I've only heard it once on YouTube, because a friend of mine said that Brian has a new song out, and I think there's some really good sections in it. I feel sorry because a lot of the time Brian will get a lot of stick, and he'll admittedly say some of the stick he maybe kind of asked for, but I think people just kind of by default now just kind of go negative with Brian a lot of the time, and it's a shame because he's a very good person behind everything, and behind all the kind of mad side of him, he's a very nice person, and he's a great songwriter. So I did see some stories, kind of putting a negative twist on the meaning of the song, but like I know Brian very well, and the song definitely isn't about what people would suggest it's about. It's just somebody putting a negative spin on it, because, as I say, people tend to just do that now with Brian. But I think I need to download the song. I'm not sure if it's available in the Irish.
It's a catchy number. It is a catchy number.
I think there's some really good parts in it. From what I remember, as I say, I've heard it once, but I'll actually